It's time to listen to some Skillet. I got a special video for you where I take you with me as I went to a live Skillet concert. So it's fitting that now I received a suggestion to listen to Psycho in My Head. I believe they even played that at the concert. But I will say, even though I believe they played this at the concert, I've never really actually listened to the song from start to finish, really trying to understand the lyrics or what it's about. Psycho in My Head is one that I'm intrigued by because it's an interesting title. And the fact that this is a Christian heavy metal band, I wonder what the concept, the message behind it is. Shout out goes to someone. Thank you for your support on my Buy Me a Coffee page. I actually brought some Skillet to the channel around Christmas time. Their rendition of O Come Emmanuel rocked my socks off. It was legendary. Go check it out if you haven't yet. Make sure to subscribe. My name is Rosalie Elliott, if you're new to the channel. I am all about exploring the world, various cultures, languages, music particularly, sometimes movies and other stuff. You'll find documentaries here, educational videos, but our biggest focus is exploring the world, music, psychology, philosophy, and finding things that inspire us to choose life, to dance in the light, to educate and entertain ourselves in a wholesome, life-giving way. That transition, that our all-around sound was neat. I love Corey's purple hair. She's such a badass.
Stop this screaming voice. Oh, maybe I'm just sick inside.
I gotta pause. That distortion that kicked in when he said, maybe I'm just sick inside, was fitting. John has a very distinct voice. Wiedererkennungswert, we say in Germany. You recognize that voice, you know that's Skillet. Corey, a badass on the guitar with her purple hair. Seth, killing it on the bass. Jen, a legend on the drums. We know this. This one is intriguing because it's asking questions I think many people can relate to. Is there something wrong with me? Am I broken? Am I going crazy? Many of us have been in that place in our lives. If you can relate, let me know in the comments what lyric particularly speaks to you the most.
Maybe I'm just paranoid. Oh, maybe I'm just living a lie. Can't stop this screaming voice. Oh, maybe I'm just sick inside. This is the face I hate, the other side of me. Out of this cage he breaks to take the life from me. Tell me, tell me, tell me I'm not crazy. There's a psycho in my head. I'm closer to the edge, making me feel like I'm living in misery, misery, insane. These voices in my brain starting to feel like it's gonna be the death of me, death of me. There's a psycho in my head. Living in hysteria, nothing makes much sense tonight. Maybe I'm too scared to trust, to stop the chaos in my mind. This is the face I hate, the other side of me. Help me believe, I need to see the light in me. Tell me, tell me, tell me I'm not crazy.
I like that switch, how he went from those lower notes and tapped into those higher notes. It creates beautiful dynamics. It adds to that crescendo. It's opening things up, and it's fitting, not only because it sounds good when you have some dynamics in a musical composition, but it's fitting to mental health. When you are asking these questions, is there something wrong in my head? And you are losing your mind, you feel broken. Have you ever been there? I have. I've felt those moments where I feel like maybe something's broken within me. Maybe I'm beyond repair. And I like that build up here because it's fitting to that type of turmoil. It's not just sitting there sadly going, well, maybe something's wrong with me. Sometimes that's how we feel and we stay there. But a lot of times we start spiraling and it gets worse and worse and we just want to scream. And there's something very cathartic about that. Sometimes that's part of the healing journey, is to say it out loud, is to tell somebody that that's how you feel, is to bring out what's hidden into the light and to scream it out if you need to. But I like that build up here and that the way that the crescendo is kicking in of the song because it's fitting to that type of turmoil.
There's a psycho in my head. I'm closer to the edge, making me feel like I'm living in misery, misery, insane. These voices in my brain starting to feel.
This is a dope video. Dang.
screaming boy. Or maybe I'm just sick inside.
This is dope.
I'm not crazy, not a nightmare. 'Cause there's a psycho in my head. I'm closer to the edge, making me feel like I'm living insane. These voices in my brain
That's dope.
to feel like it's gonna be. There's a psycho in my head. There's a psycho in my head. There's a psycho in my head. There's a psycho in my. There's a psycho in my head.
I love these people. I just love these people. You know, this is badass. Okay, couple of things, especially for the fact that this is a Christian metal band. I appreciate this all the more because from where I grew up and the type of indoctrination I experienced, things like skulls being on fire would have be considered demonic and evil. And I think that this is the kind of music that will get through to people in a way that other music can't. There are so many people that can relate to this. It would astonish you just to think of, maybe you are aware of it, but just to consider how many people are hurting or feel this way. And the regular Christianese, the hallelujah, boom, bada bang songs don't get through. They either don't do justice to the turmoil. There's, of course, beautiful music out there, all kinds of genres. Don't get me wrong. I don't say that to diminish, but sometimes there's a place when screaming is the only fitting response, when there's a catharsis about being real and being vulnerable, when there's no beautiful Christianese comforting boom bada bang. The fact that this doesn't end with a superficial word of encouragement is also fitting, because that too isn't real. Not every song will end with hope. Not everybody's story just ends with an easy, happy ending. Not every moment that is saturated in turmoil and heartache is going to end with, oh, but at the end of the day, God's in control and God is good all the time and all the time. Okay? If you grew up with that type of doctrine or with that type of pressure, there's something freeing about being real and allowing people to sit in that darkness and sitting with them. I remember when I went through a very hard time in my life and I lost my first baby almost halfway through the pregnancy. I was in a very dark place and I was losing my shit. And I remember my friend, one of my best friends, just breaking down with her. We went to a church service, I think, and I was desperate for some type of connection with God, and I was in pain, and I was experiencing so much shame, blaming myself, and just confused. And this is a person who really loves God. She has such a pure heart. And ironically, she has often just questioned herself and her own goodness and beat herself up. But she was just there for me. I lost my mind. I was sobbing. She was helpless. She didn't know what to say or do because I was in deep despair. And for the rest of my life, I pray I will never forget this. I hope I will never forget this. For the rest of my life, I want to remember that she was simply there for me. She did not have an easy fix. There was no Christianese answer. There was no, well, all things will work out for good. Because in that moment, there was no good. What possibly could come out of this? And we have to go through life to gain that wisdom. It's easy. Even if my 60-year-old future self would come to me now and would tell me, pass on wisdom of her 60-year-old self, I would still only hear it through the lens of a 38-year-old. As much as I want to be open to the wisdom that those that have come before me can tell me, including if it's my own self from the future, I would still only be able to receive as much as I can receive now. I'm still going to hear it through the lens of a 38-year-old. So there's this paradox in life that you have to go through it to gain the wisdom from it. People could tell you all day long it's going to be fine, or maybe this will turn into something beautiful, or there's hope. And words can be encouraging. Don't get me wrong. There's power in reminding someone to stay, to encourage someone to choose life, not to give up, to stay in this fight, to dance in the light. I tell you guys, for a reason, words do have power. And also there's something powerful about calling a spade, about addressing the darkness without trying to turn on a, even though well meant, but shallow flickering light. sometimes that makes the darkness heavier. Sometimes, as much as we may mean well, when we just put on a superficial, fickle little flashlight in the darkness of someone's life, if it's not true light, and if we don't stay with them in that fight, that little flickering flashlight doesn't do shit. It'll run out, the batteries will drain, and it'll amplify the hopelessness of that person. I believe it's much more powerful to be that light yourself and to be with someone. What my friend did for me, she didn't have, even if she meant well, she didn't have empty encouragement. She listened, she was there. And it didn't get better overnight. I had to go through the darkness, but she was with me. Do you see what I'm saying? She was that light. She stayed. And vice versa. It then turned out that she was having deep turmoil in her mind, a battlefield of the mind, as Joyce Meyer calls it, where she would have intrusive thoughts and she thought there was something wrong with her. She was evil or twisted or sick. And I started opening up to her, telling her that I too have those thoughts. That very much I have those intrusive thoughts, random thoughts. And it was absolutely freeing to her. She broke down crying. We cry a lot between the two of us. There's a lot of, therapy going on. But she cried too, because it was evolutionary for her. It was revolutionary for her to think that she is not the only one that has those thoughts, and that she is not crazy or broken or evil, that it is human, that those intrusive thoughts that she thought meant she is a psycho in her head simply meant she is human. And there was a simple, rational explanation for what she was going through. There's something so beautiful when we speak truth and when we are honest about the darkness, when we have someone where we can be real and say, I think I'm going crazy, I'm hurting, I am at my end. And another person says, I have these and these thoughts and these and such desires. And to be received, to have someone who can say, me too. And have someone who can just, maybe even if they don't know what to say, who stays. And that's why I find Skillet's work so powerful. Because regardless if you listen to them or not, or if you agree with their theological stand or not, these are real people. And I can testify to this because I've met them in person. And I'm telling you, they were so kind and down to earth. I will take that any day over someone who thinks that they have it figured out and wants to have a theological debate and wants to make you think that you're getting it wrong. They were so real and loving. These were just regular people that love God and they love people. And my God, if that isn't the type of church, if any, that our world needs, that is what it is to me. And the same thing is happening with this music. And so I love that this is in the Christian field, because there's many people that are not religious or not Christian that listen to Skillet, that are drawn to this type of music, that are encouraged by their message of, hey, stay, don't give up, choose life. Because they're not afraid of the darkness. They're not afraid to sit with people through their music in the darkness without ending the song on a happy, but everything's going to be fine. I know you might feel like a psycho, but there's Skittle farting unicorns at the other side of this. No, we just sat in it and we stayed. And that's how the song ended. I think I'm going crazy. And there's flames and there's John's skull is on fire and everything is crumbling. But I think that double entendre of that crumbling statue, of that crumbling stone was powerful. Because on one hand, it could imply to be a symbol, an image for someone who feels like they're losing their mind. Everything they believe and know is crumbling. And my God, if that ain't relatable. Also, I think it's powerful because this stone monument could be a symbol for idols. Sometimes when we feel like we're going crazy, it is also a chance for something to die, to break, to make way for life and truth. Sometimes those idols, those statues we've built, the things we hold on to, who we think we are, what we think defines us, what we think makes us lovable and valuable, our religion, our doctrine, our understanding and way of looking at the world becomes this stone wall statue that needs to crumble. And as painful as it is, sometimes it is the doubts and it is the feeling like you're going crazy that makes way for truth to come out. Maybe it made me think of also the stone tablets when we look at the Tanakh, the Old Testament, and the laws and commandments God gave the people. My mind went there as well, right? We use stone. We used to use stone to engrave, to receive messages from God, or to write to one another, or to record history. This symbol of what we've been taught and what has been passed down, what we hold valuable. Sometimes it is painful when all that comes crumbling. Our faith, like I said, our sense of self, who I am, the things I idolize. You can interpret that in different ways, but it came crumbling down. And it fit to this idea of thinking you're losing your mind. I'm going crazy. It's all burning up in flames. And that is where power comes in. On a psychological level, It's powerful because when you have someone you can talk to about it and you can bring to light what's in darkness, that in itself can be so freeing. So if you have nobody to talk to, I urge you to seek help. If you are considering ending it all, if you feel like this cycle in your head is going to be the death of you and you want to end things, I urge you to call the hotline and to choose life. Your story isn't over. You might feel like you're going crazy, like your brain is on fire, but this is not the end of your story. Things may crumble and they can also make way for something more beautiful. There can be beauty from ashes. Dead bones can rise in spite of death, in spite of you feeling lost or you feeling like something is dying within you. And I think there was a beautiful dichotomy between while John is singing here, feeling like he's going crazy, there's a psycho in his head and everyone's just going ham. Corey rocking out like she does, Jen going bananas on the drums, Seth going crazy on the bass. They still kept playing. Everything was going up in flames and that song was still going. And it's the same with your life. Your life song is not over. So if you are hurting, call out for help. You do not have to fight on your own. And please know, and this is where therapy also comes in and counseling, is that we can learn to reframe. My story wasn't over when I was sitting in that car and I didn't see any way out. So much life has happened since then. Also hard times, also a lot of dismay and pain, but also a lot of life. And I'm glad that I stayed. And I want to encourage you to stay and to find someone to talk to about it and where you can just be real about what's going on. And hopefully you can find someone that will be with you in that darkness, that is not afraid of the burning skulls and of the reality that sometimes we feel like we're losing our mind. But this is not the end of your story. Things may crumble, but they can make way for new life, for new truth, for new revelations, for new life, for new healing. Skillet doing it again. Man, I love these people. Go check out Skillet. If you haven't yet, go subscribe to Skillet. Go follow them on Instagram, on all the pages. And shout out to you today, someone, for this suggestion. I appreciate you guys. Please know you are loved. You matter. Your story isn't over. I will see you on the next ride. Ayo.